Hi, everyone. Today we have a very special guest here with us. Our goal is to help association to grow and thrive. And today we have a special guest, and her name is Karen Brownrigg. And you're from IHR, HR Advisory Group, and I have been using you guys as well, working with you. So I thought this is the best thing to bring Karen onto our little YouTube to share with everyone in the association world what's the latest news in the HR world.
Wonderful. Well, thanks so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. So I've been working in HR for 30 years now.
Yes.
I started working in-house, leading HR teams who are specialized in employee relations. So all things that can be scary for organizations with respect to litigation, accommodations, we specialize in that. My entire team are generalists. And so working in-house HR for so many years, I had a lot of friends who worked as entrepreneurs and really struggled with having access to an HR team. And so I created a unique solution for businesses. And we specialize in associations, actually, because we get it. We understand the association world. So we created solutions for just-in-time HR and HR programs that are designed to support the unique needs of associations. So we've been doing that for 7 years now since I launched IHR. I built it from the ground up in 2016.
Yep.
And now we have clients across Canada, and we're having an absolute blast navigating all of the complexities of the wonderful world of work, which has never been more tumultuous than it has been in the past 3 years.
I don't know. I don't know how you find fun in these things. Every time I talk to you, I'm like a 911 call. It's like, Karen, I have this problem, and I don't know how you stay so calm, to be honest. And yesterday, I was just at a client's office, and we were exchanging information. I just realized that we share a lot of our clients, common clients of yours and OTUS Group as well. So I know you work with associations. What are the latest trends in terms of hiring and retention? Because I know the job market has turned a little bit, but it isn't really like essentially not a hiring market, not an employer market. It's still an employee market. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, absolutely, 100% right. And I think there are two trends right now that are at play at any given time. So one is the participation rate, the workforce participation rate is the lowest it's been in decades. So meaning that we don't have as many people who are actively participating in the workforce. So we don't have folks who are graduating from university programs. We have a significant number of retirements, so an aging workforce. So what that means for employers who are looking to hire right now is, number one, there are limited people. So we're all vying for the same talent pool. And the other aspect that's really important is that we have people who are vying for jobs, asking and demanding in many cases higher salaries, and coming into the workplace with less experience and maybe even less education. So during the pandemic, we saw people make very deliberate career changes. So the workforce has been disrupted, absolutely disrupted by that. So employers need to understand that when they're hiring now, they've got to take a good look at their capacity to onboard, right? So the learning curve is likely higher in many cases because they're coming in with less experience. So what is the capacity of that particular organization to actually mentor and, most importantly, coach employees?
Oh, good point.
Right?
Yeah, I never thought about it from that perspective. I just thought that people would not be able to hire anybody altogether. And I'm guessing from what you said, you have to pay a higher salary to get a lower qualified employee.
Yeah. And we caution employers about trying to compete on salary alone. At some point, I mean, in Ottawa, as an example, and in other cities across the country, we're considered a government town, right? So Victoria, BC is considered a government town. I could go on the list. The list continues. we are competing with the federal government. Associations in particular compete with the federal government for talent. We can't compete with them on they've got a defined benefit pension plan, and their salaries, they're able to increase their salaries in ways that we're not able to increase. So we really have to understand what it is that separates our organization out from other organizations, and that really depends upon the total compensation program that you're looking to offer your employees. So you've got to be able to speak to the healthy workplace culture. That's one thing the federal government cannot compete on, right?
Yes.
So you've got to be able to define the culture, and why not ask your employees to help you define that? And I always challenge employers to say, ask them to define your workplace culture using 3 words only, and see what 3 words come out predominantly when you're asking your individual employees to define your workplace culture. That's an advantage. When they speak about those things, they're out there selling your organization to prospective talent, and people are making decisions around the workplace culture now. So not just focused on the hybrid work environment, which I'm sure you and I will talk about because that's a predominant issue, and also some key trends and best practices around that as well. But really be able to speak to what it feels like to work at your organization. And then you can engage in some customized solutions around what you're offering in terms of your total compensation program, not just the salaries, right? So what other perks are you offering? You know, if your workforce is predominantly new to that particular field of work or to your organization, well, what are you doing in terms of education support and different types of benefits that really meet the needs of their families and their unique situations in their stage of life? So looking at it from all things customized is absolutely key. And it's no different than when you're looking at how you're building up your team to be able to onboard people. What skills and experience do they need to help your new employees acclimatize to your workplace? And you got to focus on your leadership team.
So now I understand why people need to have an HR consultant, because as I was growing my team with my day-to-day business, I have 2 businesses. On my other side, we have about a team of 20 people, which is primarily a good representation of what a lot of our association clients would have. The size, there are some bigger ones, there are some smaller ones, but a 20 people team is pretty average out there. And I've encountered all the problems that you just share, and I was never prepared for it. That's why we should have met earlier.
Right.
Yeah. So you mentioned about the hybrid environment and work remote environment. Like what I found in my personal experience is that it is hard to maintain that high quality connection if it is all remote. And if it is hybrid, I would say some people would like to stay out of that altogether. They want to work from home. They just don't want to commute at all. How do you see associations, or what are the tips for them to manage this type of newer working style?
So I think the most important thing is not to paint everybody with the same brush. So managers have been really struggling with, you know, what's the right mix? You know, do we want, oftentimes I hear them saying, well, we want everybody back to work full time. So we're going to transition this in, and we're going to do just a few days a week, and we're going to set those days a week. And interestingly, Gallup has done a lot of research on this. And the stats are suggesting strongly that employees need to be provided with unique solutions. Most often we're seeing employees coming into the office, usually Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, oftentimes Mondays and Fridays or work from home days. In environments where there's low trust, we often see managers doubting the productivity of their employees and requiring them to come in the office on Mondays and Fridays. That's usually a red flag for us when we see those kinds of situations. And I think it's about really understanding what it is that you're doing in your workplace when you're collaborating, right? When you've got a high stakes business challenge to solve, where are you and how are you doing it with your team? And how can you recreate that in a way that really helps people understand, the best times to be face to face for solving those business challenges, maybe trying something new, building bridges with clients and stakeholders. When are you doing it and how are you doing it is really important. So you've got to be building in those customized solutions. And managers have been struggling the most with what's the right thing for the employee, what's the right thing for the organization. And we're seeing the pendulum swing from one side to the other, and there hasn't been this kind of happy balance.
Yeah.
And employees are really looking for feedback. They're looking for coaching, they're looking for support, and that's the way you're going to get employees in the workplace really doing that face-to-face work is when they're getting that kind of supercharge from you as a manager and from their colleagues. They've really got to be able to see the value in engaging in that commute, which, most of us don't want to do that anymore. We've seen that we can be highly productive, highly efficient. There's some benefits to having that integration with work and home, and we're not willing to transact that unless we're given something that is of equal value to us. So managers have to become really good coaches. And they've got to be able to have that opportunity to provide feedback, provide that supercharged environment where people are collaborating. And it really isn't about what days we're spending in the office. It's when are we coming into the office and what is it exactly that we're doing that is worth the transaction of time and energy. And if we've switched our mindset about that, then we'll see the fruits of our labor. And if we don't, and we're trying to take a blanket approach, we're going to fail every single time.
That's some golden nuggets there. Like I also learned from reading multiple books that with employee providing the feedback, also participating on the decision on how we work in a hybrid environment, even if they may say, oh, I want 5 days from home. Some of them will say that. Some of them may go extreme, I want 5 days at the office. And as long as there is a channel for them to provide that, whatever they want, and they feel heard, at the end of the day, the decision could be somewhere lying between the 5 days to like 1 day or half a day, or some arrangement that they all agree to have. As long as they feel like they are heard, they're more committed to the decision.
Absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with engaging the entire team in that conversation, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
What works?
Yeah.
And if they pick a certain time of the week that seems to work for everybody, and that's when you're really scheduling your collaborative discussions, you're doing that information sharing, that's super important. Employees want to be connected to the organization's strategic objectives. They want to understand how their specific work aligns with that operational plan that aligns with the strategic objectives. We lost our way a little bit during the pandemic because things had to morph. Things had to change on a dime. Now it's an opportunity to press that reset button and help people align into the purpose of the organization, and when they feel that their purpose is meaningful and aligned and advancing the organization's purpose, then you have that engagement and that retention that you need. And so we need to, of course, we need to focus on a total compensation plan and make sure our employees, especially now in this economic climate, we've got to have something that they see that's valuable and that they can make a living wage on and really feel like it's worthwhile. But it's not just about that. It really is about purpose. It's about growing them, and the managers now have a tremendous amount of weight on their shoulders. They've got to learn conflict resolution skills, and they've got to learn coaching skills. So organizations who are positioned for success are the ones who are investing in their managers for conflict resolution skills and coaching skills.
So you've provided so many tips here. Like I'm so grateful that we have you on here sharing, because I could relate to all the associations out there. I'm having the same challenge with my hiring practice as well. So thank you so much for coming on today. For anyone who wants to reach out to you, how do they get to reach out to you?
Well, they can contact us at info@ihradvisoryservices.ca, or they're welcome to give us a call at 686-6364, and we'll be happy to answer their questions.
That's awesome. All these information will also be provided in the description of the video below, so you would be able to reach out to Karen for her expertise.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.